Hello. One second, I just need to say. In the chat that it was broken. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If you're new, welcome. This is Aero League Racing, season 15 for GT7, and sorry, clear my throat. This is Tier 4, and your host for the season, me, is Moose. And good morning. It is definitely not morning here, but good morning to you, Lucas. Welcome. Thank you for joining. It is nighttime. It is 9:22 at the moment here, and yeah, we're gonna do both rounds 1 and 2 for Tier 4 now. I'll cut the stream and then we'll come back shortly after for yeah. So it's not morning. I get it though. It's been a while. So we'll get back into the flow of things, and yeah, we'll do the first 2 rounds. So this is Spa. It's going to be they're unrecorded or unsavable is the qualifying period, which is 10 minutes, I think. And followed by that is this, which is a roughly 15-minute sprint race. So it's going to be 7 laps for this, and then the feature race following, which will be roughly 40 minutes. And I don't know how many laps that is because I'm not racing this season. So, but it's good to be back, and thank you all for joining. I see a few popping into the stream now. Got 7, which is quite good. We're going to give it another minute or so, and I will pop back to do the rundown of the drivers for the season and our qualifying results. So, if you got predictions, maybe for the season or just this race, pop them in the chat. And yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good season. Hello, James. Welcome back. Good to see you. So yeah, actually, well, we're gonna do qualifying and the driver rundown at the same time because there have been a few car/team changes, also driver changes from the car selection graphic, which I based all of my notes off of, and so we'll make do with what I have. Yeah, and we'll do qualifying at the same time. Grand. Let me just check chat real quick, and we'll get rolling. For our first pole position of the season, we have Auto Ratilon. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably going to say Auto, which I don't think he likes, but we'll get there. Somebody correct me. Auto is driving the Renault or SO1. He, as most, I think most of the drivers this season have been demoted, but that's just a result of the expanded tiers. I think we added 2 tiers this season, at least one. Rat for short. I'm not gonna do that to him. He's too good to us. Auto finished P7 last year, or sorry, last season, in Tier 3. And he had a qualifying time of 2 minutes 16 seconds and 0.565, which is pretty damn good time, I'd say. And this is, I should also say, this is the 24-hour format of Spa. So we're starting on just before the bend that goes to Rouge. See how well I remember my corner names this time around. For P2, we have Swavey. I believe Swavey is a new entry to ALR, so welcome. That being said, he is not on my list. So, which is grand, but he is driving the Supra, the 2018 concept version. And he was just 166,000 spec on auto there with a 216.731. Not new. That's fair. A returner, I'm guessing then. Anyway, that's grand. Welcome back then. At least I didn't recognize the name. Where was I? David. You were driving eval the last season. I see. Yeah, I was in the first eval race, but I wasn't sure what happened after any of those. But glad you got your spot for this season. That it's always good to see new driver. Well, yeah, sort of new drivers then, but a full-time seat is always a good seat. And in Tier 4, and this is a pretty good Tier 4, I'd say. I think Ross said it was one of the best that we've had in a while. Right. Yeah, David here in P3. He's in the GTR with a qualifying time of 2:17 and 77 thousandths, excuse me, which is just over a third of a second back on P2 there. So pretty close between the first two, and a little bit of a gap in that following that. Also goes by Evil Legion, and I'm familiar with him from WRC. So it's good to see a WRC driver moving over to GT as well, and we love to see that. Always driving in GT or WRC. In P4 we have Pasty, who is driving the Lamborghini Huracan. Pasty was also in Tier 3 last season and finished with P12. Mo is in P5, and I believe Mo is a new entry as well. And he's not on my list from the preseason, so but he's driving the GT Supra. Cherry in P6, and he's also in the Huracan as a teammate of Pasty there, just 2 above him. And Cherry was in Tier 3 last season as a reserve, and now he's got a full-time seat. Amy in P7 behind him there, in the Renault RSO1. Amy's been in the league for quite a few seasons now. It's good to see her return, and I believe... Oh yeah, she's a returning driver. I don't think she was full-time last season, so... Welcome back, of course. In P8, we have Yuri in the Mercedes AMG, the 2020 version. And was not on my list either. We move on to JMS in the Ferrari 458 in P9, and JMS was in Tier 4 last season, so he is one of, I think, two, the other one being his teammate. I believe I have that right. See me there. To stay in Tier 4 for this season, and he finished P4 with 2 wins and 6 podiums across the last season. And speaking of his teammate, O'Leary in P10 behind him, also in the 458, obviously, finished P3, so just above JMS, with 5 wins and 7 podiums, which is quite impressive, and that just shows, I think, how competitive last season was in this tier. And an old teammate of mine, Gentonics, in the Ford GT 2018 in P11. Jin was in Tier 3 last season and finished in P8. Following is Draz in P12, we have 2 sets of teammates in a row here, as well in the Ford GT. And Draz was in Tier 4, 3 in Tier 4 last season. They've come back, and Draz finished in P8 with 3 wins, but he didn't race all of the seasons. Didn't race every round of the season. I think he missed 3 there, so but he had 3 wins out of the 5 other races, or 5 weeks of racing there, so that's quite good. So looking forward to especially those lads being quite competitive. In P13 we have Black Charizard, our head interviewer and longtime ALR member. He is in the Nissan GTR, and I think he's counted as return because he didn't race full-time last season. And P14 there is Brian's Racing GT. He's in the McLaren 650S, and I think he was is a returning driver as well. In P15 is Dr. Esty, and Esty is in the Corvette C7. And I think, according to my notes, he was at least starting this season as a reserve, and now possibly full-time. Not too sure on that one, but and to finish us up here is Jack. I believe is a new member in P16 there. He's in the NSX 2000. And yeah, that's our grid for this first sprint race of season 15. And enough of me blabbing. We will move on to the good part, the actual race. Five lights and away we go for round 1 sprint, and we will move up Rouge into Radillion. A little bit of a bump there between Mo and Amy, and Yuri will move nicely up the hill there for P5. I think it's 2 spots for him right off the bat. It's a good move for him. 3 spots. Ooh, this is getting a bit chaotic already. Turn my sound down. I'm shouting into the mic now. So we have Draz on the inside of O'Leary going just past or into the second sector. We have somebody off who is spun. We are going to go back to see what has happened, and that looks like it was Yuri who has gained a bunch of positions off the start there, and he just took too much of the curb, and I think that was mostly his own fault. Luckily ghosted and didn't take anybody else out. Jin has wheedled a few spots there from, I think, what is going on? There's so much lag in this replay. I'm not really sure why. Usually not the case. Gotten back on track and is trying to chase the pack down again. And we have some close action here between P5 and P9, with the front group kind of spreading out a little bit amongst themselves, with Auto still cruising along in P1, Swavey in P2. David has dropped one spot to Pasty there, but they will be battling going into the bus stop chicane at the end of lap 1 here. Pasty losing a little bit of rear grip coming out of the bus stop. And still little bits of lag here and there. Just not what we want to see. A yellow flag, and that is Auto, who has spun out of what usually is turn 1. It's actually the final turn for this race. What goes on here? Oh. I don't know what's happened. It looks like there was contact, but I think that was lag, so I don't think it actually was contact. I'm going to assume that Auto spun out there. Jerez is a half-second penalty, maybe for cutting in the chicane. Put him something good earlier there. SD as well, half-second penalty. SD really not being very patient there with Trizard going up red zone. And yep, he has earned himself another second half there. And that is not going to be good news for him, as he is in P11 at the moment, and most of the grid is just behind him. Brian has... Pardon. Brian's got a 1 second penalty there as well, so Jack is all the way to back there. Unfortunately, I think he's off to quite a rough start, but plenty of time to in this round to improve. David as well with the 1 second penalty, and we are really testing track limits early on in this race. Say it's been a while since I've been on comms, so might need a little bit to get myself back into the swing of doing this. And then as David turned, serving his second penalty there and dropping just a single spot off that. Jen will fly past Amy, as I'm assuming she's just served herself a penalty there as well. O'Leary and Black Charizard really fighting over here. And who is that? Auto, I think, coming out of absolutely nowhere. And a lot of contact here. I'm not sure what contact is actually real contact and what contact is just the lag. But it looks like, for the most part, everybody's alive from that corner. We'll find out the hard way if that continues on. And O'Leary getting a little bit of the rear of Yuri coming out of the final corner. And Auto seems to be struggling quite a bit here. Coming all the way from pole position, taking a spot off Draz up the hill, but Auto's dropped 10 spots all the way to P11. Yeah, I think this is Jin's replay, so I'm gonna blame him. Sorry, teammate, old teammate. But yeah, I think next round somebody else saved the replay, so I think we'll be hopefully okay. This is pretty bad. If anybody thinks that me restarting this not the stream, but the replay itself will help with this, then I would do that, but I don't think it will. But I've never seen a replay this bad. Obviously, nothing Jin did, just the game doing weird stuff as it does. And David is close on the tail of Mo here as they are fighting for the final podium position of the sprint race. A little bit of contact there. I'm gonna do my map. There's my map. Do a little livery appreciation as we go on these 2 rounds. I think Otto would appreciate looking at his car while he's in a better position. In fairness to him. And SD is going to be serving a 1-second penalty, and he's not had a great start to this race either. Oh, that's a sweet livery right there. Nice. If I'm not messing up, maybe it's Talladega Nights. Of course I'm not messing that up. Of course it's Talladega Nights. Slightly adjusted livery, but personalized to him. Swavey in P1. So Swavey moving up from P2, and after Otto's mistake has been in pretty much cruise control. Pasti is a good few seconds behind him, pretty much half the length of Campbell Straight there. And he dropped a good bit of time at the beginning sector of lap 4 here, as the game portrays him as flying all over the track. And Cherry with a half-second penalty in the Lamborghini. Not too much movement past that so far. Yeah, hopefully I will load the next replay in twice. Hopefully all the liveries will come in. I did it for this one, but I think it works all the time. O'Leary with a nice Martini livery for the Ferrari. JMS as well. Hot on the tail of Brian's, but the thing is, there's a 1-second penalty for O'Leary in just a few corners. Gonna drop back just a little further. Draz getting a great exit out of what I think it is. I don't remember. Wuhan? This is so distracting. All this lag is making it very hard to tell what is going on in this race. Yuri is going to be serving a half-second penalty. And we are really pushing really pushing track limits here, and hopefully that will get a little better with the future race. Otto will move into P9 with Jin moving up a good few spots there, starting P11. So four spots up is pretty good result so far. Hopefully not jinx him, as he seemed to lose a little traction coming out of the bus stop there. JMS will put in a personal best fastest lap, just a half-second off his previous. And our current, I think obviously at this point, would be Swavey, the track fastest lap at a 2:16.9, which is quite a bit better than our current P2, Pasti, and then Mo in P3. A little bit inconsistent, just generally for the times so far, and I think maybe it be contributed to nerves, which I completely understand. Been there. And JMS drifting. Show the game things. Otto with a 1-second penalty there again. And he's moved up a few spots, but he's about to lose probably two to those that are just behind him there. At least he's going to be fighting on the back half, or back quarter of the lap for those 2 spots, I think, as Yuri and Jin fight for P9 at the moment. Yuri's going to take the inside line into Wuhan, and Jin will close it off pretty nicely there. Auto putting a little bit of pressure on JMS, but just for kind of damage control at this point, as Yuri and Jin are still fighting and dropping a little bit more time, so maybe Auto will actually get away with this 1 second penalty. Possibly, maybe. Quick check-in on our leaders as we go into the last bits of the sprint race. We're pretty spread out. David is still pushing on Mo for P3. Definitely have to keep an eye on this battle. And Cherry and Amy are not too far behind at all. We do have a battle for P8 with Jin and Yuri starting to catch up to Auto after he served a penalty on the previous lap. So Jack's having a bit of trouble there, but better luck to him in the future. Take a look here as O'Leary putting pressure on Charizard. O'Leary with the half-second penalty, I think again there. And losing a little bit of traction will not help him catch, but he's still quite close to Charizard in P13 to catch enough air and possibly challenge him at the end of the Camel. James says the 458 is so slow. Well, sir, that sounds like a skill issue. I'm kidding. Kind of surprising. I mean, really wish that livery loaded. Fortunately, today. T7's not bad. I think if some cleaned up their straight line speed, yeah, fair enough. If you can get it in the corners, it's nice, from what I remember. But I'm sure the car will pay off at some point during the season. I really don't know how the cars act with the new physics. Barely driven since the update, and but I'm sure it found some worth in testing. And we are on the final lap here. We are in the same top three at the moment. A little bit of contact there from David to Mo and P3 as they're still fighting it out. And Cherry has caught up to David, so now we have a three-way battle for P3, essentially. We have about 2 more minutes left in deciding that. Nice simple clean livery there. Italian flair to it. Appropriate with the Italian car. But the green helps it stick out on track for sure. Looks like Swaby is flying away with this one. See the gap on the map, the little mini map in the top corner. And since this is a sprint race, there is not much to look at with tire wear, so everybody should be somewhat okay. At least I would hope so. 1.5 seconds for Auto. He is really bad luck this sprint race. But might put him in a decent position for the future, as we are going to reverse the top 10 drivers from this result into the future race. So currently that would be Jin with the pole position. Jin goes a little bit too hard into that S. He's got a half-second penalty to serve as well, but not much danger as long as he can keep himself on track with P11 well behind him. And Swavey moving towards the finish line here. And it looks like we kept our positions pretty much, I think, from like lap 3. Oops. Not much in terms of position changes. I forgot the finish line was there because the start line's on the other straight. That's confusing, but we'll deal. So, Swavey coming into the finish line for the sprint race of round 1 with a pretty big and good statement win there to start off the season. Pasty coming in P2 with the Huracan, Mo in P3, David in P4, Cherry P5, Amy coming in P6 there, JMS in P7, Yuri P8, Otto P9 as he goes off into the grass there a bit, Jen P10, Draz P11, Brian's P12, Charizard P13, O'Leary crossing the line for 14, SD P15, little swerve, maybe a little, we want to do a little better than that, and we will just wait a second as Jack moves towards the finish line to finish this race off. I think it's a beautiful car. I'm not sure how it performs among these other cars, but it's a damn nice looking car. Fastest lap there went to Swavey. Quite obviously, he was flying that race. I'm gonna take a quick drink break and load this a couple times as I go. So it'll be about 40 minutes with the second race, and then we will stop the stream. I'll start a new one, and we'll do round 2 Road Atlanta. Grand. I will be right back. Our top 3, I'll just say this now, will be, or our pole position will be Gin Tonics with the reverse grid, Otto in P2 and Yuri in P3. I want to see some predictions from the chat there, especially if you were not in the race, because I think you know what happened if you were in the race. Don't spoil it. Voila. Welcome to the sprint feature race for round 1 here. It's going to be 18 laps, rolling start, and reverse top 10 of the sprint race result. And we'll pop through. And I think all the liveries loaded, which is lovely, because we love to see deliveries. We'll have a little bit more time to go through and check out every single car. Looks like some really well thought through liveries this season. That is gorgeous, by the way. Jin usually does a good job with his. We're off for roughly 40 minutes of action here. And we pop out of Rodillion onto the Camel. Otto is off to a nice start there. I think he wanted to stay behind Jin for maybe just a bit longer. But Jin will hug that inside line. He's got Otto on the outside. Yuri's going to make a bold move there, try to squeeze through Jin, but we'll back out wisely, I think. We're still running pretty clean. Swabia, the second penalty there is not how he wants to start. But he's up 2 positions already. And Mo as well with the second, Pasty with a half a second. Charizard with the second as well, as I think everybody was cutting. Oh, what is going on here? Somebody spun. Jin getting a lot of contact there, but staying alive. And that is another lap 1 casualty on the same curb. And there's a lot more contact with no ghosting, apparently, from that time. And Amy, unfortunately for her, was a unfortunate bystander. Esty is flying across the track. What has happened here? Oh, that is so dumb. Not anything anyone did, but how this game does ghosting. That was silly. That was nobody's fault, and but good on Amy for sticking around there for Esty. That was a bit wild, but we will move on. There's a bunch of penalties to be served here, which will split these 3 at least a little bit further to the back. Otto is now in P1 by a good few seconds. I think, yeah, that was off the earlier set of incidents. And Otto squeezed through. Yuri will serve a half-second penalty as well, but has a good bit of space there to David in P4. And I will call him David because my mouth doesn't like to work in the first place, and I'm just simplifying things. Same thing with Otto's name. No offense to anybody for not saying things properly. And Draz with a half-second already, just getting it after the penalty line there, and so much contact. And Draz will lose 2 spots there to Pasty and Brian's. As they go into the final turn, I guess the first turn. I don't really know how this works now. Otto's flying away, is showing his qualifying pace as he is 2 seconds better than Jin, but Jin was caught in a bit of contact in traffic, and we'll see how this unfolds. We have plenty of time left in this race. One thing I forgot to go through was who started on what tires, and I don't think we changed tire rules for this season from last, so I think there's no rules on tires at all, except for you're not allowed to do a soft strategy. That is banned. I think that's right. Some small gaps between the top 4 there, top 5. We're getting some gaps all over the place here, which is maybe a little bit surprising for this early. And what I know is a competitive tier, a bunch of very good drivers. Both Brian's and Draz, P8 and 9 respectively, have half-second penalties, which will drop them pretty close to Mo. Caught too much curb and then got a bit lucky there getting out of the sand trap. Just one tire to begin. O'Leary's going to serve a half-second there, which will drop him one spot, and lost him pretty much another spot to Mo, who probably would have beaten otherwise. And O'Leary backing out for his teammate, and what was probably a fair go there. James is now looking to squeeze past Mo and Charizard. I think he does have the pace, but James will be on the outside of these two. Mo is going to close the door, excuse me, just a bit. James will actually squeeze through anyway and take P10 with his teammate O'Leary right behind him. So that's Mo and Charizard drop to P12 and P13, while the two 458s move up. James signals there. Oh, Mo and James both getting second penalties. This is wild for back of the grid at the moment. James is... There's some good teamwork here between the Ferraris. They, unfortunately, are both making small mistakes, but not trying to be a hassle to their teammate. So that will probably pay off, I imagine, throughout the season. But not. We'll have to see. There is a long way to go in this race. I think I saw somebody spin. What's going on here? Ooh, this is a good battle here between Yuri and Jin for P2. Let's see if the AMG can push this forward to its limit as we go onto the back quarter of lap 3. It looks like Jen will earn himself a little bit of space, and see how that carries on. David not too far behind this battle here for P2. Seems to be catching up pretty well on that GTR. And Cherry and P5 just behind him as well. This is looking like it's going to turn out to be a good battle. Yuri on the inside. That'll be Yuri into P3. Cherry moving past David there for P4. And Cherry with a good shot up. That straight line speed is really paying off in that Huracan. Ooh, a bit of a tap there from Yuri, which is unsettling Cherry in a really bad spot, but Cherry keeps it set, as I think David backed off just a little bit there, as you know, he made a little bit of contact. Yuri just behind still. Quickly check through behind. One DNF already, so we are now down to 15 drivers. Auto with a half-second penalty. Jin probably 3 or 4 seconds behind him. Maybe a little bit more than that at this point. Auto looking in very good position here. Just keep it clean, and these guys keep fighting amongst themselves. I think that'll set off Auto for a good future race result, and kind of redemption from what happened in the sprint race to a very early mistake. Japanese flag livery for Ronin Racing Team here in the Toyota, which is very fitting. Charizard looking to make a move, and Mo getting a little bit out of sorts. Nissan right behind him. And James as well. Mo's going to serve his penalty, and the other two will fly right past him. Look at that. Look at that. That's just pretty. Fortunately, they'll scuff on the paint job there, but warning, driver may run out of talent. Class. I don't know, there's a fair bit of talent there. Say that much. Maybe not exactly what he wants for this round, but I know there'll be some good results this season at the very least. Nice switch back there for James on Charizard, and we will approach the Eau Rouge with James and G10. Charizard will be just behind him, and we'll get a little bit of drafting assistance. Might not be enough. I think James is just that much more steady up Road de Lyon. As we go down the Camel, and Mo with insane, just great top speed in that super there, and really getting the most of that air. Moves into P11, and Charizard has now dropped his spot after trying to look up for a top 10 there. Moving back up to the front and check out how things are going here. We will have pit stops coming probably in about 5 laps. I'm going to assume they're going to start. Some Swavy's on hards. I didn't know hards are viable. If you can make it work, make it work. That is interesting. And to be on hards on P6 at the moment, that's not too bad at all. As long as you can keep mistakes down to a minimum, that should set him up for a good soft stint at the end, I'm assuming. Mo says, well, I came in flying, and yeah, you did. That caught me a bit off guard there as well. Can't imagine how it would be to be driving at that point and have someone come through that fast. Well done there. And this has been a constant battle. Yuri's dropped back just a little bit. The slightly NASCAR teamed AMG with the Patronus colors. Patronus, I don't know how to say it. David looking for a draft. Cherry trying to break the draft just a little bit there, but it's not going to be quite enough. David's going to go on the outside. Cherry on the inside. This is a battle for P3. Cherry's going to bounce David off a little bit, as I think he took a little bit too much of that corner. David taking it easy as he's just trying to keep the car steady, it seems. Jin moving along quite steadily in P2. 2:19.7 though is not going to be quite enough to catch up to Otto, who's very far off the distance, as you can see, or can't see anymore at least. Otto with a 2:18.2, which medium tire is not too bad. Is it raining? No, not yet at least. Looks like it might rain, which would certainly turn this race on its head. As I remember which camera I need to go back to. Still only one drop so far. Getting a look here at SD's car. Dutchwind and hot dog stickers on the back. It's a good kind of funny thing to follow there. And take a look at our leader at the moment. He's very cool with the car. Very French. Very pretty colors. Very well done livery. We got a little peek at this off the start of this race. That is just a very nice DHL car. Ford is quite a looker, I'll say that much, the GT. Cherry looking to break the toe once again. So I'm pretty sure this is almost exactly what happened last lap. David getting a little bit further ahead, and Cherry actually doing kind of the same thing. David having to take it very easy, not to lose the car on the curb. And we pretty much did identical things from lap 6 to lap 7 there, and David's going to lose. Probably be a little frustrated at that, I imagine. But he seems like quite a patient driver, so let's see how this works out. Yuri with a 1 second penalty, and I think he caught that going up really on. He's still in P6 with those hard tires, and that is saying a lot, I think, about his driving. He's probably going to be quite a threat this season. Fastest lap and sprint wins so far. See if the gamble on tires works out for him. I think it might, at least for a podium position. Auto has moved quite far ahead there. P1. It'll take quite a big mistake for that to be shaken up. Yuri will serve his second penalty, which will drop him a little bit closer to Suevi. And he loses quite a bit of time with a second or more. You definitely lose more than a second on the lap. And if somebody's within tow range behind you, that puts you in even more trouble. Suevi looking on the inside of Yuri and trying to take advantage of good bit of contact in the mid-corner there. Middle of the bus stop. Suevi won't get the positions quite yet. And see how these hard tires are looking. Yuri's mediums are good, slightly bit more worn, not too far off, but they will start dropping off quite soon. Weary losing a little bit there off of turn 1. Down the line here. What happened? Quickly move back. Oh, Jin just took the curb a little bit too much, and it looks like he lost a bit of momentum as well. Maybe he had a penalty that I missed, but Cherry into P2 pretty cleanly as he's just collecting after Jin's mistakes there. David quickly moving himself into position for battling P3, but not so good out of turn 1. Jin will be able to get some air off of Cherry on the Camel here shortly. GTR looking quite nice, Upper de Leon. Cherry looking to break the toe on the inside as well, and that is swerving, I think. That was another, well, kind of another move, I'm not really sure. Don't know how the stewards room looked for this race, but I assume there were probably a few reports. I don't know if that would count though. He didn't move, but didn't create a new line. I'm not a steward. Taking a look at Brian's livery here. Very nice. Typical GT livery. Nice green though. Did I say that? Jin's looking a little bit out of sorts. I think his tires are not feeling so great at this point. You may see some relatively early pit stops. I think those who can are looking to at least go another lap before pitting, but I think Jin might be calling this one a little early. So he does not seem to have a lot of grip at all. These cars are horns. Really do. Make things a little more spicy. Jin having a bit of trouble there, and he has decided to continue on. On his current set of mediums, David's tires are not much better off though, but he doesn't seem to be struggling to grip quite as much. There's a purple sector 1 by 4/10. I think Auto just drop that sector a bit, so I think there is still more room to improve. Jin and David getting a bit of contact there. David into P3. And I definitely see Jin pitting on this lap and probably doing medium. But that's going to make a pretty hairy end of the race for him. Seeing how these tires are treating him at the moment. Swavy's going to take another position off Jin. Just he has way more grip on those hard tires at this point, and this gamble really does seem to be working out for him. Still a decent bit of fuel left. Quarter tank will get him 3 or 4 more laps, roughly. No, 3 laps, maybe a little less than that. Not sure if he's going to make it quite that far. Brian's with a 1 second penalty as well, which will not help him in catching up to this pack in front. We're taking a look at the AMG either. Oh no, yeah. I think you got most of the cars now. The GTR. That's quite nice looking too. Cherry, I think, might have cut the pit lane there. I don't remember how that pit lane works. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty off that. So that'll be our 2 leaders of this race, Otto and Cherry, moving into the pit lane on our first set of pit stops. This is quite a long pit, so we have most of the grid. Predictably, Swavy, not the only one not to pit at the moment, because he is on hards, everybody else is on mediums. Mo is still going on. He's also on hards. So both Supras. I guess fuel and pace works out for them pretty well there. So the 2 Supras provisionally up in front. Swaby's got slightly more fuel than Mo, but this is kind of a long lap. I don't know how the math works out, but Auto's going to come out with 84% with the fuel tank. That'll be enough for them, I think, to finish the end of this race. 75 to 86, 87 it's looking like. For what people are coming out at this point with. So, Auto is still technically P1, just because he had such a strong lead going into the pit. I think everybody's pit on this lap except for our front 2 at the moment. I'm really interested to see how this gamble works out for hard tires. A good bit of space there between the top 2, Swavy and Mo, and certainly won't be pitting this lap. Mo might pit the lap after. I'm not sure if Swavy will have another lap left in the tank there. I think that's asking for quite a bit. could also be moving to medium tires, but who knows? We'll find out. Cherry with the 3 seconds. It looks like a pit. Yeah, I think he cut the pit lane there. Yeah, too late of a decision to go in. That's going to hurt him a little bit. Definitely dropped behind David there. He is on quite good pace, I'll say that much. Evil Legion, as he's also known. And the WRC side of things of ALR. Yuri pushing on Jin here. Yep, Mo will pit, but Swavey seems to have just enough for another lap. This is a well planned out strategy for Swavey. Well, maybe. It's very. We're just a little bit over halfway, so he's clearly got the pace for it. Otto definitely dropped a bit of time on that first sector on his fastest lap there. Otto moves into P2. Mo is just coming into his actual stop. I'm interested to see what tires he comes out on. Assuming softs. And Mo's going to be dropping a little bit here. Maybe P5. No, more than that. That's dropping quite a bit back there. I think the undercut, well, relative undercut, it's not technically an undercut, but it's an undercut compared to the two that are on the hard tires. Coming out on mediums, which I think is interesting. That is quite interesting. Mo comes out on P12. I don't remember where he was at before. I think he's dropped a few spots after that pit stop. Amy looking down to hunt Mo down for P12 and make his life just a bit more difficult. He tries to heat up these tires and get them worn in to take advantage of all that fresh grip he has. Jen's down into P5, but still on good pace. Cherry's David have dropped back just a little bit there, and Otto. Okay, so Swavey's going to come into pit. We'll see just how much of an advantage Otto has here. Swavey still hasn't stopped yet. Not sure if he's going to be really close enough to really battle or really challenge Otto for P1. Stop now. Tires are changed. Fuel is going in. Yeah. So Otto will be in first at the moment. Swavey's going to come back a few spots behind where I think he would like to, and I really hope he comes out on soft tires. Otherwise, this is not going to work out. He's on mediums. Que pasó? Oh, sorry. Button press there. So Otto in P1, David in P2, Cherry P3, Swavey had a pit lane violation as well, so that's going to be 3 seconds off for him. And that is going to put a big dent in his bid for cracking into that top 3. Still a bit surprised. They came out on medium tires. Brian's is on softs. We have Charizard here with a 1 second penalty, but he is battling Mo for P11. If he can get in front, he might give himself a good enough chance here. Charizard does get in front, but he will have to serve it. Mo is just in front of him there on a good couple laps, fresher pair of mediums. Mo does seem to be struggling a good bit though. Losing traction early, early on there, earlier than usual, which is interesting. There goes the penalty for Charizard. He will drop straight behind Amy. And we continue on with lap 13. Our top three kind of remain the same. Fastest lap at the moment is Otto with a 2:18.2. And considering we're mostly using medium tires, this is second 1.7 seconds off of qualifying time, the best qualifying time, which was set by Otto Ortillon there. The GTR sounds so quiet. I hear the turbo kicking in now, but it's just so much quieter compared to a lot of the other cars. The Lambo is loud. Ryan's on the softs. It's one of the very few cars that has gone on the soft tires. SD as well in the Corvette, but unfortunately he is in the back at the moment. We've had also one more DNF since I last noted. We're down to 14 drivers, unfortunately, I think. Always prefer to see people finishing the race and not quitting, but obviously sometimes there are difficulties and it's not quitting. I don't know what happened. I don't even know who dropped. I think Jack did actually, but he was like, I think he was having a pretty rough time in that car. That was the NSX's. I don't think the most competitive. Mo with a 1 second penalty, Amy with a second and a half. We are really racking up penalties here. Everyone I think has had at least one. Some drivers are just magnets for him apparently. Just today. Draz with a half second as well. Well out in front. Big gaps there between our top four. You're really trying to push that AMG as Brian's in the 650S behind him is definitely putting a bit of pressure on him. The soft tires give him a slight advantage for now, but 4 laps is a good bit of a way to go. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough grip at the end of this race to close the deal. Yuri might have gotten himself a penalty. Definitely cut a bit at the top road de Leon. No penalty for him there. Just stayed enough inside. The right tire was still on the curb, I think. Maybe a bit lucky. O'Leary with a second and a half as well. It looks like he is not having the best time there. And teammate James behind him. Also, definitely should note the special Belgian additions to the livery there. A couple flags around, and most importantly, waffle, Belgian waffle, and famously Belgian fries. I've heard good things about, but I've never tried. Dutch ones are pretty good. I imagine they're somewhat similar. Please nobody get upset at that. We have 2 Dutch, but no Belgians. 3 Dutch. Fair enough. Oh, Leary getting a second and a half. He would have taken advantage of Jin's mistake here, but he is about to serve the penalty and drop him right back. And that second half is really going to hurt at this point. Jin going a bit wide. O'Leary kind of reacting to that and losing a bit of grip off the curb as well. His teammate is going to fly right past him. So O'Leary gives them plenty of space. We have just over 3 laps remaining. Oh, I guess 3 laps for the beginner. The people at the front. Appreciation. At this point, maybe with the hazard lights on, as Charizard flies past on the Camel and is already a good second plus up. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I think something's happened. Ooh. Yep. I think a controller or wheel died there. Oh, that's really unfortunate for Amy. Yeah, I think something happened there. That's just important there. Better luck next time, I hope. Good. Fair few penalties in the back. Oh, those soft tires are not happy. I think Brian's is going to have to pit on this lap, at the end of this lap. And I think that was a bit of a strategic misstep, but it's only round 1, we live and learn. Same with the attempted hard tire strategy. So he's still not doing too badly. He is quite quick though, it is very clear that much. But the mediums certainly will have plenty of grip for the end of this race. Oh, half second there. I don't think that's fair, but this game just does whatever it wants. David with the fastest lap as well. I didn't notice that earlier. 218, almost, yeah, getting close to 218 flat. Just under 218.1. He's actually going pretty toe-to-toe with Otto at the moment, and might be a battle coming up. We'll find out. Otto makes one little mistake or gets like a second penalty, and David's gonna be right in this. Half second there, he's still safe at the moment, but obviously nothing helps. That doesn't help. I'm sure he would really appreciate a podium position for this. It's been a pretty good effort, but I think Soybe's on for a pretty successful season. Certainly has the pace. Definitely have a few very quick drivers up front. Vroom vroom. So we go on starting the penultimate lap of round 1. And Otto Rotillon with a good bit of redemption. We love to see it. Mr. GT7 Wiki himself. Always very awesome when he has the time to put those articles together. battle here with James and Jin battling for P6. O'Leary, James's teammate, right behind. James trying to swing the car into turn 1. And they will be going into Rouge side by side. James is going to back out just a little bit. I think maybe over corrected there, and that's going to lose him a little bit of that space. Just going to be pretty vital in these last few laps of this race. And just a reminder to keep on. This stream will end at the end, but at the end of this race. But I'll start a new one. So just give me a minute after this ends and refresh before ALR's change. Maybe moving on that. A little bit of catching up to do. Hopefully back on track for next week. Actually, I have no idea what round 3 is. I will look later. SD coming into pit as he has probably absolutely no grip through any of these corners with those soft tires. Brian's already pit, or just come out of the pits onto mediums, which might have been a little silly because you could just go sauce again, but what's the point of this at this rate? A little too far back now, unfortunately for him. But as every season, round 1 is kind of everybody figuring out their cars and tire wear and kind of keying in the strategies for round 2, which is a very good track with Road Atlanta. Probably one of my favorites, personally. Always makes for some very good racing. I've heard there was some drama. Oh! Doing some interesting stuff here. Currently sitting in P9 at the half-second penalty. Not sure what happened, but regardless of this, we'll move up to the continuing battle between Jin and James. O'Leary still just behind them. We're on the final lap of this race. Looks like Auto Ratillon will be coming home with a nice points haul this week. A bit of a early fumble on the sprint, but very good redemption here in the future race, and really showing off the pace that he has. Just checking on fuel as well, make sure nobody runs out. That Lambo's going to be coming in with fumes, it seems. David looks like he will be finishing this race off with a fastest lap. I think a couple tenths better than Otto in front of him there. And actually catching up on him quite decently for how Otto's what Otto's gap was early on in this race. Oh no. Auto with a win. Auto Ratillon, the feature race win here in round 1. David in P2 in the GTR. Very much looking forward to seeing those two, especially this season. Cherry is on good pace as well for P3 in the future. Swavey P4 after a bit of a hard tire gamble. And maybe the softs weren't going to work out just enough for this race. But Yuri in P5. And Jin, after battling with James past few laps there after the pit stop, will get P6. James in P7. O'Leary, the teammate, In P8 behind him, Mo is going to come in with P9. Black Charizard in P10. Also in the GTR there. The second Ford of Draz will come in P11. And the other two are quite a bit far behind, so Brian's in P12 and SD in P13. So we'll just go through standings real quick, and I'll probably take just a minute break there, and we will move on to round 2, Road Atlanta. That looks like round 1 to me. So our post-Stewart standings for Tier 4 here at the end of round 1 is Swavey in the head seat for the Drivers' Championship in P1 with the Toyota, with a sprint win and a P4 in the feature. He's got one of the fastest laps from the sprint there, and it's 34 points. Just 3 points behind him is Evil Legion. What's his name on this? Oh, David. In the Nissan with a P4 and P2 here, and fastest lap in the feature race with 31 points, so only 3-point gap there. 3 points behind David there in P3 with the pole position is Otto in the Renault with 28 points. With 26 points, so only 2 back, is Cherry in the Lamborghini with a P5 and P3. 7 points behind that is Yuri in the AMG. Mo in P6 with a 3rd place in the sprint, 9th in the feature, 18 points. James in P7 with the Ferrari, 2 P7s for 16 points. 1 point back on that is Gentonics with the Ford with P10 and P6. Pasty in P9 with a very good sprint result with P2, but unfortunately dropping a bit there. I think maybe he DNF'd. I think he DNF'd. We still got points there, so finished P15, but we didn't have 15 people finish. So I'm not sure why that is. I'm sure there's an explanation somewhere. He has 13 points. With 10 points is O'Leary and P10. Amy in P11 with 7 points. Charizard in P12, 6 points. Draz in P13 with 5 points. Brian's in P14 with 4 points. SD in P15 with 3 points. Oops. And let's see, here's Alden, and it's actually Jack who DNF'd there in the future. Actually, SD and Alden / Jack are both reserves, which I did not know, in fairness. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. If you are here live with me at this moment, I'm going to take a few minutes to refresh myself, and we will move on to round 2, Road Atlanta. If you're watching this as a replay, just go watch it. Thanks for joining again. I appreciate you all, and thanks for a good race there. Cheers.